Hey guys, today we're going to talk about the absolute value. The absolute value can be defined as the distance a number is from zero. So we're going to end up counting how far away a number is from zero. And so we have these vertical lines here, which are called the absolute value brackets, and you can see our term is in the middle. Okay, that is going to signify that we're looking for the absolute value. Let's look at some examples. We will start off with the absolute value of 5. So on a number line, we will start off at 5, and we want to see how many spaces away from 0 it is. So we'll count down from 5 to 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the absolute value of 5 is 5 spaces away from 0, so it is absolute value of 5 is 5. When we look at the absolute value of -3, we start on a number line at -3, and we count how many spaces it takes to get from -3 to 0. So we count 1, 2, 3. So -3 is 3 spaces away from 0, so the absolute value of -3 is 3. Sometimes we end up getting a negative on the outside of the absolute value brackets. So in this case, we're looking for the negative absolute value of 4. Okay? And sometimes we refer to this negative sign as the opposite of the absolute value of 4. So again, we find the absolute value of 4. We start off with 4 on our number line, and we count down to 0. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we find that the absolute value of 4 is 4, and then we apply the opposite of 4. Okay, the negative value, which in this case is -4. When we look at the opposite of the absolute value of -2, again we start at -2 and count to 0, so 1, 2. So the absolute value of -2 is 2, and then we find the negative value of 2, or we find the opposite of 2, which is -2. So the negative absolute value of -2 is -2. So we've been calling the absolute value, calling them absolute value brackets, and they are brackets indeed. They are grouping symbols. So we will also be able to solve some problems with these. So if we have 7 plus the absolute value of -3, we find the absolute value of -3, which is 3, and then we can add 7 plus 3 and get 10. In our second example, as I said, these are brackets, so they count as grouping symbols. They're on the top of the order of operations. So we have the absolute value of 6 minus 15 times 3. So the first thing we resolve is 6 minus 15, and that becomes -9. So now we are left with the absolute value of -9 times 3. So the absolute value of -9 is 9, because -9 is 9 spaces away from 0. And then we can resolve 9 times 3, which is 27. And that's it for absolute value. We will be practicing in class, and I will see you there. Us.